This is ogforums.com Real Talk, an unfiltered, independent perspective on Acumatica Cloud ERP. My name is Tim Rodman, and I want to mention 3 things in this pre-recorded intro before we get started. First, thank you to our sponsors. Our first sponsor is Paya. Paya offers Acumatica users a suite of industry-leading payment orchestration tools. Far beyond native Acumatica payments, Paya enables EMV NFC terminals for countersale. They offer a frictionless customer portal through their click-to-pay solution, and they support most e-commerce platforms and point-of-sale solutions used with Acumatica, such as One Retail and AcuPOS. And best of all, omni-channel reconciliation is available for all their solutions. Our second sponsor is DataSelf. DataSelf Analytics is a revolutionary reporting solution that enables organizations to make the most informed decisions faster and easier than ever. It uniquely simplifies business intelligence, empowers anyone to build and access dashboards, and delivers critical business insight when and where you need it. Our third sponsor is Aldrich Web Solutions. Are you a distributor using Acumatica, yet struggling with an e-commerce fit? US-based Aldrich Web Solutions out of Marion, Illinois, has 2 decades of experience helping distributors find success online. Our team of experts built the integration, creating websites that work effortlessly with Acumatica. With our reputation for swift customer service and meticulous attention to detail, we are the perfect fit for distributors needing online solutions. Please take a minute to support this podcast by clicking each one of the sponsor banners located at augforums.com/sponsors. Our sponsors track clicks, and every click helps to support this podcast. The second thing I'd like to mention is that I'm always looking for victims. I mean guests. If you use Acumatica in any capacity, no matter how small, I'd love to talk with you. Check out augforums.com/podcast and click the link near the top of the page to learn more about being a guest on the podcast. Third and finally, I'd love to see you listed on my Rolodex. Check out augforums.com/Rolodex to find out who else is using Acumatica and read the instructions at the top to see how you can add yourself to the list. All right, that's it for the pre-recorded intro. Let's get started. Today is Saturday, January 25th, 2025, and this is episode number 145. You can find related links on the episode page at augforums.com/episode 145. What you're about to hear is me interviewing a bunch of people at the hackathon during Acumatica Summit 2025 in Las Vegas, Nevada. I also did this last year in episode number 122, and I like doing this because not everyone can make it to the hackathon, and this gives you a flavor of what it was like and what people were working on. Maybe it will even inspire you to attend next year. One note about the audio quality, it's not that great, and I apologize for that. Last year was even worse, so I brought a better mic this year, but I still have a lot of room for improvement. I'm still publishing the episode though, because I think there's some good content in there if you can tolerate the less than optimal audio quality. So without further delay, let's get into it. All right, I'm here with Vlad Sushkin. Vlad is kind of like the new Mark Franks. Is that a good way of putting it?
I would say I'm the better Mark Franks.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. I was going to guess Bernard is good Mark Franks. All right. But you're basically running Hackathon this year.
That's right.
All right. Tell us what is Hackathon for those who don't know what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Hackathon is an event that Acumatica hosts where we take a bunch of different developers together and non-developers, come up with a really cool solution in 24 hours, and we present it in front of our judges, including vice presidents, chief product officer,
Who are the judges this year? You know, can you rattle out the list of names?
We got 8 of them. We got Ollie, Johnny,
okay,
Jeremy Larson,
Okay.
Todd Coons,
Okay.
Vinton Mehta. We got Prasad Ilapani, Mike C, of course. We've got two more. I'm trying to remember here. Sorry, it's
That's
a long
pretty good.
list.
That's pretty good
Yeah.
that you got 6 out of the 8. No, it's okay. I'm putting on your spot. It's all right. So you got eight judge panel. For those who do know what a hackathon is, tell us what's new this year. What's different? What are you doing? Anything different?
Yeah, we are doing something new this year. Last year we did, the theme was sustainability.
Right.
And although we had some really great presentations, some of the feedback we heard was, hey, let's try and opening it up the potential options.
You kind of put the shackles on people with that a little bit, right? They couldn't be as creative as they wanted to, maybe.
I would definitely say not shackles, but that was the goal we had.
Yeah.
Sustainability, that was our theme. And then this year we're going complete opposite. Creativity unleashed.
Okay.
Come up with whatever you'd like and present it to the judges.
Okay. Any other differences? Or
I think this is the biggest hackathon we've had so far.
Looks pretty big.
We went from 10 teams to 14 teams
Okay.
compared to last year. And it's been a really fun and exciting event.
do I see team numbers instead of Greek letters?
That's right. Yeah, we got team
okay.
numbers,
That's
so
different.
1 through 14. Yep.
Okay. Well, I'm going to hit them one by one and see if I can get people to talk about what they're working on.
Awesome. Yeah.
Any other thoughts on you want people to know about hackathon?
I would say hackathon is open to everybody. You don't need to be a developer to participate in a hackathon. I say everyone has their different skill sets, strengths, weaknesses. Come on down. Try it out.
Totally agree. That's why I like doing this. It forces people to think about their presentation a
That's
little
right.
bit
Yeah.
earlier than they want to, but that's a key part of it, right?
Absolutely.
It's not just the solution, but it's how you present it. Awesome. Hey, thanks for your time.
No, thank you.
We just shook hands. All right, I'm here with David from Team 1 to find out what Team 1 is working on. David, what are you guys working on? I see a bunch of images up on your screen.
We're working on a common hot topic these days, AI integration.
Okay.
For Acumatica. Common issue that we've noticed that the using visualization for project management can be difficult sometimes. So combine improved interface or visual interface when dealing with project management and AI component to it.
I see your title on the slide is AI powered Gantt chart. Like, is it more than a Gantt chart or just a Gantt chart?
Well, it's a couple of things. AI powered Gantt chart, but it's more big. Primary reason is to visualize schedules.
Okay.
Right now, Acumatica, you've got to use a lot of third-party integrations to visualize and manage data effectively.
Okay.
So we want to create a visual way to represent the data. It's easy to track and manage, and we use this AI component to accurately manage the data.
So is the AI piece more on the back end and the Gantt just a standard Gantt chart on the front end? The AI is more like an ETL tool kind of a thing, or how's the AI come into play? Okay.
Doing most of the presentation part.
Yeah, part of this is warming you up for your presentation. It's kind of what I'm doing here. Okay. So that's what you got so far. All right. So AI on the back end, Gantt chart on the front end, and then do we have any any screenshots of a prototype I can see, or not quite yet? Yeah, okay. No, totally understandable. Maybe around 3 a.m. That might be ready.
Doing a live demo, so
Okay, good.
that'll be part of the tail end of the presentation. But so we're structuring this presentation around. Imagine that you're a construction manager in a Fortune 500 company, and you have to go to Excel spreadsheets to figure out when someone's going to be on site, when a proxy will be on site,
Yeah,
rather than using Acumatica directly.
yeah. Okay.
So we present the solution, improving the project management function of Acumatica with a AI-powered feature.
You know, if it's just going to be tasks like start and end dates on tasks, or it's going to be resources somehow also, or
It's
really just tasks. Okay. And then can you do like nested? I don't even remember if you can do like a parent task and a task. You know, if you can do like nested or just a flat. Yeah, just a flat list of tasks. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, it all comes down to your numbering, probably, right? where your brain maybe associates multiple tasks together, but they're not actually linked to each other. Okay. All right, cool. Well, good luck, and thanks for taking the time. I'll let you get back to work on it.
Some warm up there. I need that.
All right, cool, awesome. Thanks.
Gotta sound like I'm doing something.
It's a crucial part. I mean, the presentation of it is just as critical as the product, I think. So no pressure. All right, thanks, David. Thanks, man.
Better. Well,
I'm here with Robert from Team 2, and first thing I'm going to ask him is if he likes the team numbers better or if he likes the Greek letters better.
I think I like the Greek letters better.
Okay.
I think that made it a little more exciting.
Had a little more flavor to it, right?
Had more flavor to it. Yeah. So we'll see. Our instance is named Beta. So.
Oh, there you go. I like that. Good. Mark Franks will like that.
All right. So what we are doing is we're doing an integration to OpenAI, the authors of ChatGPT.
Okay.
And essentially, what we're doing is we're taking a array of images or a collection of images as the fundamental input to the project, and we're going to try to extract as much information out of the images as possible.
Okay.
So here's the specific use case that we're going to be using, and we want to make this generic, but so that we can use it for an array of different types of use cases. But our specific use case is I'm a member of the Denver Makerspace, a hackerspace, and we call it DenHack. And part of the Makerspace we have an electronics lab, and in that electronics lab,
that's pretty official. That's
yeah,
pretty cool. Okay.
Yeah, so in the electronics lab, we have this whole big wall of bins. And within each of these bins, we have all sorts of integrated circuits that we can use for any sorts of projects and whatnot. And they're just like the little microchips that you would see if you like pulled your computer apart and you looked at the electrical boards, and you've seen them, the microcontrollers, the computer chips. A lot of them are just like logic gates, multiplexers, and shift registers, and all that sort of stuff. But here's the problem. We have this whole big inventory there, but everything is like really hard to find in there. And then, so the objective is we've got a folder of images. All I've done was I went to the makerspace and I just took each bin and just took pictures of what's in that bin. Took a picture of the front. I slapped the barcode in the front so that we can just like pull out some barcode information and be able to like weave back some like grid coordinates of where these electrical components are when we're finished our analysis on the data. But the main thing is, like, I just take pictures, I dump the bin out, spread the components across there, not setting them in any order or anything like that. I'm just taking a picture of the big bunch of them.
So there's more than one thing in the tray.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, each bin generally is going to have one thing. There are a couple bins that might have a couple different components in them, and like subdividers and whatnot. But
Okay.
we're not gonna get into that complexity at this point. But at the end of the process, and I could show you what the images look like here. Obviously, you're not going to be able to get that into the podcast, but let me show you.
So would it then compare it to an image that's stored on the stock items in Acumatica to be able to match it up to a part number?
We're going to build the part. Well, we're going to build and augment the part. So at this point,
so this would be for stuff that's not in Acumatica yet?
Not in Acumatica yet.
Okay.
So this would be the initial inventory aspect of it.
Okay.
But so what we're going to iterate through each of those pictures, and we're going to send it into ChatGPT along with the prompt. So we got our prompt set up where we can ask, like we have a header for the prompt, and then we're going to ask it several questions. We're going to tell that prompt specifically, hey, we want the results in a JSON format at the end, and then we have this data set of this JSON file, all of this information about it. So one of the aspects that we're doing is like we'll take the bin, we'll throw all the parts out, we'll take a picture, and we could say, hey, how many pieces are in here? So we're going to get a quantity back, and we're going to get a physical
Oh,
count
okay.
to like
Interesting.
how many components there are, and then,
Okay.
and then shortly after that, we're gonna take a picture of just an individual piece and get as close into it as possible, and see if we can get any sort of text off of the part itself.
Okay.
And then we can say, hey, what is this thing?
Like a serial number or something like that.
A manufacturer
Some kind of
part number.
identifier. Okay.
So there's identifiers on there that's going to tell an electrician or an electrical engineer as to like what that component is, and then we're going to ask ChatGPT. It's like, okay, what is this part? How is it used? We'll get results back saying, hey, this is a flip-flop circuit and this and that, and it can be used in this application and that application. And we're going to pull back that information into Acumatica. We could also ask, hey, is there an online URL link to a data sheet? We could pull that link back in, and then we start building an inventory of that stuff along with all of the information that we extract out of the images.
So what's your full list of stuff you're going to get back so far? You're going to get a quantity, you'll get a description, you'll get a data sheet if there is one.
We're going to get it. We're going to get a
what other kind of stuff?
part number.
Manufacturer part number. Okay.
We're going to get the physical inventory of it. We're going to ask, what's the purpose of this unit?
Okay.
We're going to have a place where in the inventory for like, hey, here's the function of these particular pieces.
Okay, interesting.
We're going to be pulling back a data sheet. We're going to see, hey, what's the value of these?
Okay.
What's the resale value of these things, or buying a new one, and those sorts of information. And then at the end of it, we can like send the whole data set back to GPT and say, hey, what kind of projects can I build with all of these components that we have?
Ooh, I like that too. Cool.
Yeah, so like that's one of the common uses of ChatGPT is like you could say, hey, this is all of the things that I have in my refrigerator and my pantry.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of stuff can I make?
So you'd feed it a bill of material for that, or you said a project? Like what Acumatica data do you think you would feed it?
We would pull back the results of it, like here's all of the parts and here's the quantities. Like, hey, what can we build with this? And we're just going to see what we get back from it.
Okay, cool. Sounds like a fun project.
The main thing is like, hey, we're taking physical inventory along with it. We're grabbing item IDs out of it, going online, trying to find some additional information in it, get some URL links back, so that we have a data sheet that we can reference for it. So we go with just an input of images, and the output is structured data within the Acumatica system.
Yeah, and then you'll map it into whatever field you want to dump it into in the stock.
That's what we're looking to do.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sounds like a fun project.
It's been fun.
Cool.
I'm really enjoying this project.
I'll let you get back to it, and thanks for taking the time.
No problem.
Okay, I got Patrick and Ruslan here from Team 3. Patrick, you're a little stressed out right now. Tell us more about that.
Oh, it's an 8 o'clock crunch.
Yeah.
Trying to get something we can show the rest of the guys and start building data out of.
Is this the part where like you just want to at least get off the ground before you can see if it can fly at all? Like,
we want to put some data in the database, and to do that we have to code the thing. So, yeah, it's stressful at the moment.
Well, thanks for taking a few minutes. What's the vision? Forget about whether you pull it off. What's the project name and what's the vision of the thing?
I think we're going with AccuThreads is the name of the team.
AccuThreads, okay.
Yeah. And see the idea.
Is this a clothing solution? No?
I think more messages.
Okay.
Yeah, messages. So users of Acumatica will probably be familiar with the note button that you can push and add a note that, if you delete it, it's gone forever.
Mm-hmm.
Our idea is the ability to add multiple notes per document that builds as you move from order to cash. So that, in sales orders, you might have different people adding notes to the sales order, multiples. And then once you get on the shipment, you can still see those sales order notes, but you can also add notes for the shipments. Then you get to the invoice. Maybe you see all of those notes together, maybe multiple sales orders and or shipments all together, all the notes in one place. So you can kind of see the history of the whole endeavor from top to bottom.
Now, I could use activities for that, but that's kind of clunky. Is this the idea to have more of the simple note UI part of it where it's one click but then have the benefit of activities and that it's separate notes getting logged with
Yeah.
timestamps and all that?
So it's yeah, that's definitely one thing. The other thing is that activities is hard to doesn't combine well with GIs. So they use the rich text field, and we can't get that into GI. Whereas
This
we
is
have a
simple
service-
text.
It's simple text.
Okay.
And so the person in charge who wants to see a top-down look at it can see all those things in a GI, filter, sort, and the whole shebang.
Well, this sounds like definitely a practical one, so I hope you're able to pull it off.
Yeah, me too. We'll see.
Good luck.
Thanks.
All right, I'm here with Paul from Team 4, and your head's down a little bit ago. So did you get past the hump, or how are things going?
Yeah, we did. We got a nice breakthrough.
Okay, breakthroughs are great.
Yeah, let me explain the product. So, a long time ago,
Oh boy,
in a galaxy far away, someone sent an
you're a
email.
hit with developers already.
Someone sent an email to try and get an order. I know it's crazy to think, but there are still a lot of Acumatica new customers who get orders over email.
Yeah,
You think
yeah.
they might need an upgrade?
Uh-huh.
Well, anyways, so the poor customer service reps now have to go and read through that and figure out that old Sally John needs 5 cases of X, Y, or Z.
Uh-huh.
Well, we thought we would save our customer service reps that tedious nature, and we are using a large language model to parse through the email.
OpenAI or something else?
I'm using Gemini.
Oh, okay.
And then
I know nothing other than
Google's.
OpenAI.
Yeah,
It's Google's. Oh, okay, gotcha.
But then, after parsing through the email, we trained the model to give us a JSON object that we can then push that straight into Acumatica and create a sales order straight from an email.
Cool.
The potential with this is you can create shipments straight from emails, create orders you need.
But I like your sales orders. That's like use case right there.
And so fundamentally, what we're trying to not only show the proof of concept that we can save our, poor customer service reps who have to go through emails and pay attention to when something's coming in, but we are showing that you can actually use part of an AI model right in the midst of Acumatica and have it produce code that can then be launched into it can actually perform a function. It is an AI agent that actually performs a function within the code.
So how does the email come in? Do you use the normal incoming processing with Acumatica's email? That's how it gets in?
We're actually pulling the emails from the API endpoint for, whatever the default 24/email.
Oh, I don't even know what that is.
Yeah,
Is that the same as the incoming processing tab or no?
It is on the all emails tab, all emails screen.
But so you said REST endpoint. All right, I'm sitting in my Outlook inbox. How do I put that email into Acumatica? Is it a button in Outlook? Do I forward it to another email address like team number 4 at mycompanyname.com?
Yeah, fundamentally.
So it's an email address that I send it to. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We are using an email address to decide on what to pull.
And
so like orders at example.com, those are the ones we're pulling.
And so I would think that the hardest part is getting the products. Like you could probably get the email and tie that to a customer pretty easily so you know who the customer is, but then they type in whatever the product name is in their brain, and you got to map that to a part number in your system. Is that the hardest part or no?
Or a customer that says, give me 3 of the usual.
Yeah. Is that the hardest part?
Absolutely. But we've trained the model that if it is unsure, it puts in a non-stock item called not found.
Okay.
And then we're attaching the email into the notes section of the sales order. So as the sales order sits...
Great question. Why the notes and why not the activities?
15 hours.
Okay, gotcha. Good answer. Good answer.
Time.
Okay. And so you could see what it was, and then you would replace not found with whatever.
Correct.
What about, so AI is cool. Is there any machine learning where it would actually then do a better job next time based off of what you replace it with? Oh, tell me about that. I'm more interested in that than AI, actually.
We trained this model on 20 examples.
Okay.
You give me
Definitely talking big data here. Yeah, 20 examples.
Yeah, 20. Yeah. You give me 200, we'll be doing a lot better job. You give me 5,000, we'll be doing a whole lot better job.
But does the model continue to learn somehow?
Not really.
I mean,
in this
maybe not for the hackathon, but I'm always curious how you would actually do this in the real world. Can you keep feeding data back to Gemini and keep training your model further?
Absolutely.
You could. Okay. So you'd be taking the actual.
And that's actually one of the use cases we have. We actually have a log deck where if anything fails, we can then go and use that data to retrain the model.
Yeah. So once they correct it on the order, you would go train the order. If they say the usual, it means whatever's currently on the order.
Sure.
Ah, okay. I like that.
Now, obviously, the usual, I think that's a really tough example because that would have to imply the model knows a little bit more about this customer. No, this is looking behind the curtain of AI. So,
yeah, that's what I'm most interested in. Yeah.
Perfect.
Whatever you've learned about AI in general. Yeah, nothing to do with that.
So there's a couple different ways you can do this. For customers that want to implement AI, we often will use one of Meta's models, the Llama models, because you can actually download it and put it on my GPU or my computer. I can run it right off of that. Actually, for demos, if someone showed you to put it on a Windows 98 computer and run it off. Yeah, totally. What's the benefit of that? I own the weights and the biases. What's the downside of that? Training it is a lot harder because as you train back propagate through the model, it takes a lot longer time and GPU cycles are expensive. Okay, great.
So by harder, you mainly mean more computing power required. Okay.
And time.
Okay.
Now, there's ways people have got around this. A lot of people are familiar with chain of reasoning, right? So you'll take a large model that maybe exists in the cloud. You'll get information out of it, and then you go pass the output through a smaller model that I actually trained, and then
Okay.
So that's normally.
Is that essentially breaking AI and machine learning apart, or no? I don't know this well enough myself.
No,
because to me,
like
AI is something that learns
GPT
on its own,
Mm-hmm.
and machine learning is something that learns by me teaching it. That's how my simple brain comes up with it. Like to me, the machine learning part is the part I'm feeding my own data to and training it. AI is something that I don't really teach. It knows what it knows. Is that right or no?
That almost gets into there's two classifications. There's is it structured and unstructured? Yeah,
that's okay.
Yeah. It's okay.
I thought I'd ask. So I went way off the rails. All right, I'll bring us back. So your emails
for
to orders.
Right.
Emails to orders.
For customers, ideally, we want to use a Llama model because they have control over the weights and biases. For the sake of the hackathon and 15 hours, we ended up using a Gemini model where we can fine-tune it based off of fill-in-the-blank number of examples. The other benefit I would love to do after this is after we have whatever model is feeding us the JSON object.
Mm-hmm.
There's a term called RAG. RAG? Is that right? It doesn't matter. Let me tell you what it is. Effectively, I'm pulling this JSON object, but then I'm going to another model that has access to my database, my customer records, all the email interactions, and it says, I'm creating the sales order for Sally Joe. Tell me what you know about her, and that'll inform the decision it makes. But obviously, if you're doing that, you're exposing all of your data to that AI, which is why having a Llama model on GPUs that you own or something like that works a lot better.
I'm going to have to go back and listen to this to digest this. It's an area that I've been curious in.
I'll point you to some fun stuff. RAG.
if you email it to me, I'll include it in the related links in this episode. Paul, thanks for the time. I'm glad you had a breakthrough, and I hope this thing flies even higher as the night goes on.
I want to go to bed. I'm on East Coast time. Yeah, retrieval augmented generation, RAG.
All right, we'll check it out. Thanks, Paul. I'm here with Roger from Team 5, and I see a QR code generator up on your screen. Maybe you could tell us, what are you trying to build? What's the goal? Whether or not you pull it off is another question.
We're trying to automate the trading of documents between Acumatica customers. So people that use Acumatica are trying to trade documents. For example, a sales order would go in as a purchase order to another company.
Okay.
Or a purchase order going to a sales order. And have that data electronically be transmitted rather than having key punches.
So does this sound like an EDI a little bit, or how is it different than EDI?
Well, EDI requires a lot of formalization and specifications in terms of document exchange, handshaking, paying a lot of fees in terms of signing on the van and taking the carriage across. This is just a loose and formal way of transacting between Acumatica type customers, a vendor and a customer transacting documents.
And since I see the QR code on your screen, it makes me wonder, are you extracting data from documents, or is it just data, pure data going back and forth between systems?
Eventually, it'll be just pure data. It won't be the OCR side. It'll just be recognizing a QR code to bring the data up, the underlying data of the document. So it's brought in electronically. The data is brought in electronically to the system.
And is there a middleman here, or is it just Acumatica communicating directly with Acumatica? Like, how would I sign up another company? Would I just put their Acumatica URL right into my Acumatica, or how does that work?
There is a handshake. There's a handshake between the vendor and the customer, and a key is exchanged, a key that the two share is exchanged, and the data on the QR code is encrypted so that it's only the handshake between the customer and the vendor where the underlying data is received. So there's a middleware that actually stores the information that is being exchanged.
Okay, so there is going to be something acting as the authority on the handshake between the two.
Right.
Some central website somewhere.
Somewhere, yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. But everything you're going to put into a QR code, encrypted, and so like that QR code is not just the handshake, but it also has all the data with it.
No, the data is stored in a central place.
Ah.
Not in the QR code. We think the QR code cannot contain all the information that's being transmitted.
So I would push, let's say I'm creating a purchase order. I would push the data of the purchase order up to this central thing somewhere. It would send me back a QR code. I would send that QR code to the other company, and then it would pull down all the data.
Similar, right? I think when you send out the invoice, you can send out the QR code at the same time the data is uploaded. At the same time, the invoice is generated with the QR code, and then when the vendor receives it, they have the QR code right there, right? In terms of transacting.
That's a cool idea. So you're keeping the document in place because that's how people do things,
right,
but giving them a QR code that would basically give them access to the data directly.
And the QR code will only go once the handshake has been made. The reporter would look up and say, "Oh yeah, this vendor that I'm sending a purchase order to is something that a vendor that I've already authenticated with. We already exchanged a key. We already identified each other, and this QR code I'm sending will be recognizable to the other party. I'm not going to send a QR code to everybody on every invoice.
Right.
Purchase order I send out.
It's only going to work for one person.
Right.
Who has that key. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Interesting.
That QR code is for that. And if it's a vendor that is not, you haven't exchanged anything with, maybe they're on some other ERP product, then the QR code is not going to print. Right? So the OCR function, when it goes to work, when the recognition happens, here's the QR code. We can get the data and populate it and present it. much faster.
Do you have a name for it yet, like modern EDI or something like that, or any ideas yet?
We call it the A trade.
The what?
The A trade.
A
A trade.
A trade?
A trade.
Oh, I don't even. What's the reference? I don't get it.
A.
Oh, okay. So you're like trading data, Acumatica. Okay, A trade. Okay. Oh, I see. And like kind of like instead of E trade, it's A trade. Okay. Oh, I like it. Like it. Well, good luck, and thanks for letting me interrupt you. I'll let you get back to work.
Sure.
Or back to whatever you're doing.
You call it that.
Thanks. All right, I'm here with Laura from Team 6. Laura has been on the podcast before, and this is Laura's first hackathon. Is that right?
Yep, my first hackathon.
First, you can tell me, are you writing code?
Personally, I am not, but my team is.
And do you feel like you still have a reason to be here, even though you're not writing code?
Yeah, I think I do. I think I'm bringing value with my knowledge to inquiries, dashboards, as kind of a super user within the system, and then also to the presentation.
And I totally agree. I just wanted to make sure you felt that way as well. Tell us what you're working on. I see. I don't know what I see up on the screen. Hey, tell us. Yeah, what's your project here?
We're working on a project to create notifications that
Squeal Team 6. Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
Squeal Team 6. And our project is to have pop-up notifications rather than pushing all your notifications through SMS or email to actually show the notification on your screen when you have something to approve or when there's an action step that you need to take.
So if I do a business event, I can choose a bunch of notification options. Are you adding an option to business events or doing it some other way?
Yeah, I believe the goal is to connect it with business events. So the business event can drive the screen notification. So like with you have, Teams, when you get a message in from Teams, even if you don't have the app up on your screen, there's like a pop-up that happens on your dashboard
Right,
or
right.
on your desktop. This will be a pop-up that happens within Acumatica in your browser screen.
Have you seen it work yet?
I'm not a coder, so
But have you seen it on anyone's screen work yet? Here's the reason why I'm asking. The reason why I'm asking is because I know, I don't even know if it's still in there, but in the whatever we call the UI prior to the current UI, we now have the modern UI, but then we have the one that most people are using now, and then whatever it was called before the one most people are using now. They used to have this little activity bell up on the top that was a place for notifications, and I always wondered if they didn't do pop-ups, and I always wondered if there was something challenging with the browser when it comes to pop-ups, and so that's why I'm wondering if you've actually seen it. Okay,
so stay tuned.
So the goal is to actually have it pop up at a certain time, just like it would at a certain time in Teams, right? According to time, not according to I went to a screen and then it pops up, but just no matter where I am in Acumatica, at a certain time it would pop up. Is that the goal?
Yeah, if a notification came in tagged to you as the user employee, it would pop up, and then you can see the history of the activity of hey, this came in, it needed to be done, then this person went and did it, and now it's my turn, I have to do something next. So you can kind of see feel a little like a chat history look.
So more than just text and a pop-up, some smarter than just a pop-up with some history on it.
With actionable steps on it, so that you could either click and approve directly in the pop-up box, or you can snooze it, and it'll remind you again.
Cool.
Or you can click through to the actual interface if you want to see the transaction that you're approving or taking an action step on.
Okay. And do we know for sure if it's going to be in business events, or is that a maybe?
Yeah,
That's the idea right now. Oh, okay. Yeah. This is the dream. Whether it actually happens by whatever it is, 11 a.m. tomorrow or 12 p.m. or something. Okay, yeah. Well, good luck. I won't disrupt you anymore because this is a cool one. I like this one.
Thanks, Tim.
Thanks for taking time. All right, I've got Corey with Team 7. Corey, what are you guys working on?
So we are working on a in Acumatica chat function
Okay.
Where you will be able to have a chat that runs on any document, any entity basically within Acumatica, and stores it on that document so you can look back at any chats that happen.
This might be too technical, but like, are you going to use Note ID so it really is attachable to any transaction? Okay. And Ref Note ID. Okay. Ooh, I love it. I love it. So you could chat about anything. Where is it going to live? Screen space is always a hot, it's a limited commodity,
so
right?
We're just cited on a side panel that will just pop up when you want to start a chat. And you can do all the communicating in there. You can tag people in that chat.
So does that mean one custom screen that could be added anywhere as a side panel?
Yes.
Ah. I like that.
Whatever you want.
That's really flexible. So then I could add it even to a generic inquiry and then be chatting on the specific row that I clicked on, for example.
Open it.
Ah.
Through.
Okay, cool.
Or proof of concept and notifications for both mobile, mobile notifications. And then looking at different
Well, you lost me with, okay, so
So like you got added. So right now.
would you mind coming over here?
Sorry.
We have another contributor to the conversation.
You're enough. I didn't realize you're on the podcast.
It's not live or anything, but I am recording, yeah.
Okay.
All right, we got Keith here also. All right, Keith, go ahead. Yeah, tell us more on the technical side.
Hi. So with the chat app, yeah, you can tag somebody in the conversation, and they'll get added to the list of people who are part of the chat message, and then they can get push notifications or set up any other business event to notify, saying, "Hey,
This is
somebody
getting
brought
really
you
fancy.
into it."
Okay.
So because like one of the use cases, like say you want to talk about a purchase order, a purchase receipt. Sometimes you want to bring purchasing in, so you might want to tag somebody in purchasing. The warehouse person starts the chat. Sometimes you might want to talk to the salesperson to say, hey, we don't have this. Purchasing said we don't have any more. We need the salesperson in. Hey, you want to call the customer? And it all, again, it's all logged. You don't.
Rich text. And
that's one thing that we're gonna look at doing, and also, so then you could paste, again, anything that the Acumatica rich text editor.
So even an image, I could paste an image in there.
Yeah, that would be the plan.
And then I could tag someone just by typing @ and their username.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
And right now we've got that working, so we're gonna events and notifications, see it on the presentation. Just tag somebody and watch it on their phone and say, hey, you've been invited to a chat. So.
Well, this sounds like a cool idea. I love ideas that are super flexible and can be used anywhere. Like, you're not on a super narrow use case. I like that.
One of the other things that we're not going to put together for this presentation, but we are going to have as a future enhancement of this is applying that to the customer portal as well, so the customers can start chats with us as well.
Okay.
So like, if your customer wants to talk about an invoice that they got, they can start a chat and reply to them.
Cool idea. Well, I hope it works out.
Yeah.
Thanks for taking the time.
Absolutely.
All right, I got Tom here from Team 8. Tom, maybe you can, looks like you're working on the presentation here, so give us the warm-up version of what you're working on.
So our team name is AcuUp, and it's a combination of Acumatica and Upgrade. So the problem that we've decided we're going to solve is, as customer of ours, the upgrade process becomes cumbersome as it relates to customizing generic inquiries. What we're finding is it's a great feature in the tool, but when one utilizes it, it does add some administrative cost and complexity to upgrades, and so we're looking to solve that. So what we're proposing in our solution is we're going to provide for a mechanism where we called it Adogio. Anomaly. I gotta get my
Adogio.
Yeah, Adogio. So it's anomaly detection of generic inquiry anomalies.
Okay,
So,
ADOGIA. Okay.
and yeah, new crypto, a meme stock's coming.
So this is not the same anomalies that recently got added as an anomaly detection feature. Different kind of anomaly.
Different, but it's the concept working off of that. I mean, one, we're trying to heighten awareness of that feature, but so it's what we're looking to do is the customization of generic inquiries. One's faced with either having to test every single one of them. Problem with that is customers can do their own. They'll tell us as far as what they've done. We may miss it. If they don't test it, they may miss it. And some not often used generic inquiries, they may only get used once a year in the year-end process. And if they didn't test it during the upgrade, and it shows up at the worst time. It's left to us, then we're spending a lot of time testing inquiries that we might not necessarily have to test. So what we're going to do is using the release notes, we're going to pull that information into a table. We're going to use that information then to compare with the customized GIs in the system. We're going to have the system tell us, here are the ones that we've identified for you. So just as you find after you upgrade, you go into your generic inquiries, you have the icon telling you there's a problem here. You need to look at your generic inquiries no longer right. We're basically going to bring that forward. It's going to be a form that's going to give you that information all in one place to let you know these here are the ones you need to worry yourself about. And so the ones that don't have a conflict, there's no issue, we're good. We don't have to spend time there. And so that allow us to get through our process of making any corrections to those. So we don't have it AI yet to where it can suggest or fix them automatically, but that would be the next step. But initially, we just want to find the ones that are impacted, bring those to our attention, and this would be all of them, because now it's using the metadata to go through and find out which ones have been customized. If the customer neglected to tell us as a bar that they've customized a GI, no problem. This tool is going to tell us, compare it, give us the ones that we need to go address them. We can focus our testing, make sure they're all working. Now we're moving on, and now in the sandbox is where the upgrade process. We got that customer utilizing most of their time in the sandbox for an upgrade to confirm all of their processes and all their features are working.
So you say release notes, you basically mean tables and fields? That's going to be what you're going to store and see if those particular fields are used anywhere? Yes. Like someone could use the table somewhere, that's no problem, right? It's only if they use the specific fields, is that right? Yeah, we're looking for, it's basically fields, mainly fields, not the tables themselves. Like if they used a specific field in a table that got changed or deleted or something, it's all about field level. And then are you checking both the relations tab and the results grid and the conditions and the sort? Or so where are you starting off with results grid? Okay. And then maybe relations next, because that could break stuff too. Okay. All right, cool. I like the idea. To me, you don't even need AI. Just like that's a super mundane task that I would just love a regular non-AI computer to do the matching for me. Okay. I like that idea.
This is mostly like developer tools.
Yeah, a developer tool. Yeah.
Yes.
Then what if I'm upgrading from like, I don't know, 2021 R2 to 2023 R2? Is it going to go through each one of those versions and check? Okay. So it's an aggregate. It's not just, okay.
Exactly.
I like it. Very practical. I like practical stuff.
That's what we thought. We set out to find.
What was the slogan? It's not sexy, but it's useful.
It's not sexy, but it's useful. I like that. Yeah. Well, good luck, and I hope it makes it to the finish line.
I hope so.
Yeah, and we'll give you a sneak peek of our tag in conclusion. It's know what changed, no more guesswork.
I like it. Keep it simple. Know what changed, no more guesswork. Cool. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
All right, I got Kyle here, who was not quite ready to share what they were working on LinkedIn a few weeks ago, but now you're okay.
Yeah.
It's what time is it? It's like 9:00 on Saturday night. Maybe give us the warm up version of what you're going to present tomorrow.
So we're working on a sort of non-technical tool for people to understand what is happening during system slowness.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So imagine this scenario, right? Like you might have an Acumatica instance, and you might have a connection to your shop, like you're using the Shopify connector, or you have a 3PL connection, and suddenly your order volume ramps up because of some event, right? You're now popular on Instagram or something. So your end users inside the system are going to experience just poor user experience, right? And your users might run the gamut of just suffering in silence, right? And just plodding along, with the system running terribly, and then you're just wasting people's time. They're not very good efficiency. Or you might have some people that be like, hey, there's a really big problem here, like the system is really slow, and then you're tasked with the very daunting task of recreating exactly the circumstance of why it was slow at 9:57 p.m. or 9:57 a.m. on a Tuesday a Tuesday morning.
So, because I can use the system monitor, but I gotta capture a bazillion stuff, and I gotta capture the right stuff. So there's a balance between not capturing too much stuff, but capturing enough that you know what's going on. Okay.
Exactly. And also the timeliness is really important, because the circumstance, there's a million different things flying around in the system at one point. And capturing that history is really important.
So you think you solved this problem?
Well, I'd like to think that we did.
It's all about the 80-20 rule. You think you got 80% of the way there, or even 50?
I would say we got 80% of the way there. Yeah. So essentially, what we've built is the system that you can there could be a user report of slowness, right? So we just added a button to a couple of screens for now.
Okay.
So you could do a user report, and we have some thresholds. So if 3 users report within 5 minutes, fire off essentially this log, right? Or also,
so you're not logging all the time.
No. Okay. Yeah. Oh, actually,
same challenge as you would have with anything.
We are actually logging all the time, but we are. There's ways that you can actually pull. We're actually using ERP transactions as a proxy. So ERP transactions are getting logged all the time, right? So that's one. But then also,
you mean just normally? You're just looking at the data in the table.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
But then also, there's a way to pull long-running transactions out of the system keeps track of what the long-running transactions are at all times.
Oh, I didn't remember that. Oh, okay.
So if we have this situation where we have a threshold cross, then we pull the long-running transactions out of the log.
Okay.
Because those are just sitting in the server memory.
Okay.
So we're going to pull those down into the database, and then take the sort of ERP transactions of the last 5 minutes, right? Saves, action pushes, API calls, that's all being tracked.
Okay.
So that's going to be sort of the first tier, but then also the long-running processes and how long they've been running for. Pull that all out of the system, compile it up into a report, and send it off to some person.
Okay. So your output is just email, HTML email?
Yeah. For the purposes of the hackathon, it's an HTML email.
Good enough, in my opinion. Yeah.
Again, for the purposes of waving our hands around and selling something, we'll sell it a little bit more than that, in terms of next steps. But in terms of a tractable hackathon solution, that's what we're implementing.
I see CPU on here also. So is that also a threshold?
Yeah, because
the CPU usage is above a certain amount.
Exactly.
Okay.
Above a certain amount for a certain amount of time. So that's another possible threshold that you could trigger this same event on. And the intention is that if some people just don't even think to remember to push the button, right? We want to capture just slowness in general, when somebody, I don't know, probably would complain about it if they thought about it, but they didn't have the wherewithal to push the button at the moment.
So no button pushes, a CPU threshold would still trigger it.
That is exactly it.
With that, I don't know the answers. Do you know in the Acumatica cloud if CPU, it's going to be the same CPU for multiple customers, right? Because they're all, whoever's on that box, that virtual box, is running multiple instances on the same IIS server, I think, right? So it could be an indication of a noisy neighbor. And you would know, because you're going to have ERP transactions. You're going to be able to say, we're not doing a lot, but our CPU is throttling. Hey, Acumatica, we got a noisy neighbor.
Yeah,
right?
Potentially, although you wouldn't be able to see the noisy neighbor.
Right, you wouldn't know that.
But it might be a clue.
But you would be able to see, hey, I'm not doing a lot.
Yeah.
The CPU is high, so there's a pretty good chance there's a noisy neighbor.
Exactly.
Then Acumatica support can go look at that and find out, right?
Yep. Exactly.
Okay.
And again, we're going to pull that we're actually pulling in CPU usage from the system monitor. So that will also be
I
another.
didn't know you could
data.
read that. Interesting.
You can. Yes.
Ah.
Then if you do
You
a
scrape
couple
the
hacks-
screen, or
No,
you read it
no,
out of the
no.
framework
You
somehow?
read it out of the framework.
Really
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Memory also, or just CPU?
Just for. I mean, you could do both, honestly.
But you think you could read both? Yeah.
You
CPU,
could,
I agree, is probably more important. Yeah.
So
Like CPU and database read writes are probably the biggest culprit of slowness, right?
I would.
So, and that's you got with the ERP transactions.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
Cool. I like it. Well, sounds like a fun project, and I'm glad you were ready to share it.
Yeah, thank you.
Good luck tomorrow.
Thanks.
Yeah. All right, I got Heath from Team 10, and in addition to Dungeons and Dragons, which we were talking about a second ago.
Definitely not. We were computers and JSON files. That's all that was.
What are you working on tonight, I should say, at this hackathon?
So we are working on a change to Acumatica and potentially a way that you are able to manage your projects. One thing that I noticed being in the construction
Customization projects, or
took the words right out of my mouth.
Oh, not like projects, not like projects in the project module.
Projects in the project.
Oh, project in the project module. Okay,
Yeah.
all right, sorry, go.
And so we are we're trying to see if there's a way that we can have more of a high level view of all of the projects. Being in the construction field, there are a lot of times where we have a building and we have to do a shell build out, and then we end up having projects within the tenants, and a lot of times we kind of lose sight of, or it's easy to lose sight of, the main shell project that the building started as, and then the additions that have to happen to the building within the projects. And so this is an attempt to kind of culminate all of the projects, all of the service calls, all of the files that were generated during all of this stuff into a single site view that we are trying to get built out and functional, so that you can click on the site view and see a very, very high level view of everything that's happened, basically on an address by address basis. We're also trying to add the functionality to where a facility management company, and we can have them queued in basically all of the things that a facility management company has access to as well, because sometimes facility management companies are over this site and this site, and so you could basically culminate them all into a different place as well.
So there is already like a master project field on projects, isn't there?
Yes.
But you're talking about aggregating it multiple ways.
Yes.
Based off address or off of
facility management companies.
Is that a field, or that'd be like an attribute, or you would add that field?
We're gonna add,
Okay.
we're adding that in there, and so
address, facility management, other ways to aggregate it, or those two mainly.
Those are the two main ones.
Okay.
But we're also thinking if we can get there, hopefully we can get there to even have sub-sites. Sometimes you end up having projects that are actually over multiple places, and so kind of going a many to many relationship where you can have one project that's tagged into multiple sites, so you could keep that all together, but then also having, say I want a campus for a large university, or IU, since I'm Hoosier. IU has a lot of different buildings, so we could have a site be IU, and then a sub-site within that of all of the different individual buildings. So I could still see a high level of everything that's happened at the campus, but then also the individual buildings within the campus.
You think by tomorrow, or that'd be like a phase 2?
That's maybe if we had another, maybe next year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So mainly for tomorrow is like aggregate by address, aggregate by your facility management field.
We're gonna go aggregate by address.
So is it mainly just a report with like that added?
It is more of a
management
centralized view
field
of all of the things, but all of the projects, and then potentially the service orders that have gone in there as well. Basically, just to give you a different view, so that you can basically manage projects via sites a little bit more better.
So what is the output? Is it just a report? Is it a dashboard, or is it a screen that you can actually modify the data as well?
It's almost like if you went into any of the project management pages and you clicked on like a project itself, right?
Okay.
So it would be a lot of similar data that you would find in there, but then all of them brought together. So like if you have a project,
just different filters available, essentially,
yeah.
on existing screens.
Yeah. So it's
Okay.
take all of your projects that you have, and then bring it up to a higher level to see kind of across your business how you're doing financially per project, per site.
Okay.
Just to kind of manage it. One thing that I've noticed in our business is it's kind of difficult sometimes to know the main source of truth, right? So instead of having it be a situation where we house all of the data and all of the files that have been created for a project or shell project or whatever, they live in SharePoint or they live in OneDrive. And the unfortunate part about it is there's no great way that I've come across, that others in the group have come across, to basically bring that all in a collective single source so that Acumatica can be the source of truth for literally everything. I want to see all my projects. I want to see all of the service calls. I want to see all of the files that have ever happened at this address, and I want it to be within Acumatica.
So I'm checking your badge. So you're at a customer systems envelop group. That is a construction company.
Yep.
Yeah, this sounds like a real world pain that you feel. And I'm curious with the SharePoint thing, where I've seen this before. It's like, the data is there in Acumatica. It just needs to be aggregated. But people don't know that, so they drag all the files out into a folder by the address, right? Is that what's happening right now?
My project, yeah. And then you end up having a situation where it's like, well, I have all those projects, and now we're archiving those projects because we did those 5, 6, 7 years ago. Well, there's still important files to know about. There's still important files to have access to. And when you end up having a project that is a build onto an existing system, sometimes that data you don't even know that it's there. You've got turnover in the building or a new person, they don't even know to go look for it. And having it be a situation where a salesman can come in and say, hey, I want to know everything that's happened at Acme 101. They can click on it and see everything that's happened and all the history that has happened within it.
Cool. So, with most hackathon projects, if you said maybe we could do that next year, I'd be like, probably not going to happen. But since you're probably going to take this and start using it in a couple of weeks, maybe that will happen.
There's a distinct chance that if we don't end up persuading the Acumatica gods to create this, that I will be going back home and making this myself.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, good luck, and I hope it makes it to the finish line.
Yeah, well, we got a ways to go, but I appreciate it.
I'll let you get back to work.
Thanks, sir.
Feel free to join in, Mika, too.
I got Kieran and maybe Mika from Team 11 to talk about. I see some Acumatica Aces on the title and some playing cards. What is it that you're working on here?
Yeah, so that's what we called our team, was Acumatica Aces. So basically what we thought of was Acumatica is really missing voice commands, the level of voice interaction. So our idea is to be able to use your voice to do things in Acumatica. So there's a couple of use cases we thought of. So for example, if you give your salesperson, they're driving down the road, all of a sudden they realize they've forgotten the customer's name, their last order, how much they ordered last year, to be able to interact with Acumatica and get that information as you're on the road.
Through a mobile app, or what's the interface going to be?
Yeah, it's still a work in progress.
Okay.
In the end, it would be mobile.
Okay. So the idea would be for a mobile phone, and then you would need an app in the App Store to do that, or you do a browser, or through regular Acumatica dashboard. Okay. So you'd log in, you'd open up the Acumatica mobile app, or the browser on a mobile phone. Browser. Okay. Okay. So it might just work automatically in the mobile app. You'll find out. So through a dashboard, and you'll hit a button and start talking, and it'll retrieve stuff for you. But it's being all done natively in the Acumatica framework. Correct. You're not doing API calls and stuff to get the data.
Yeah, I don't have much of the technical.
Sounds like it? Is that right? Natively in the framework. Oh yeah, that's cool. So it would be faster than doing it over APIs with a third party. Yeah. Okay, cool.
But I think there's more than just that. You could also input information. So if you're on the road or you're going around and you forgot, then you can get data in there. And then I think another key component of it is that it allows anyone to use Acumatica, right? There's a lot of people out there that keyboards don't really work for them, right? So if you can use their voice, then they can interact with the app.
Especially salespeople, right? Yes.
Yeah. Or even if, like, let's say you have a top employee and they hurt their hand and break their arm, it's going to be difficult for them to use the application, right? But if you have your voice and you know what's going on, you're good. Also helps with user adoption. So, for example, I don't use Acumatica very often. If I go in there and I try to figure things out, it's a headache. If I can speak with Acumatica, it can help show me where I need to go and make things easier. So,
Is it going to retrieve things based off of generic inquiries so I could design my own things, or is it just going to go straight to the data for the specific use cases that you're working on? Does that make sense? Okay. So it's about creating data right now is the use cases. Okay. So yeah, you're going to go screen by screen because you're going to have to know how to talk to that specific screen, a sales order screen. Okay. Okay. Even down to the line level, like add this item in this quantity and add this other item in this other quantity. Okay. All right. Well, cool idea, and I'll let you get back to work so you get as far as possible. Thank you. All right, I'm talking to Max from Team 12, who got added to the team late and might be the most useless member on the team, but we don't think so, right? We think you know what's going on. We're pretty sure. So that's why you got stuck with the presentation, or are you doing the presentation?
No, that's for somebody else.
Oh, that's for someone else to do. Okay. Do you know what your team's working on now?
Yes, we are working on a way to integrate with Scribe so that when you're training users, there's a fast way to record what you do.
Wait, Scribe. What's Scribe?
Scribe is a tool that lets you quickly record a how-to.
Okay. I feel like this is vaguely familiar, but I don't.
It's a screen recording.
Okay.
And also to add translation or subtitles.
Okay. So like I could do a recording and it'll be taking screenshots and my dictation and all that. Okay. All right. Sorry. So go on. So integration with Scribe.
So that you can walk through a workflow in Acumatica, have it capture what you did in your notes, and then link it into the wiki on Acumatica so that users who are learning the system have quick reference to your company's specific processes.
So Scribe just does that naturally. Is that the main part that you guys are doing is piping it back into the wiki? Is that the main thing that? So yeah. Do you know how that works? Like, is it a button you add to Scribe or how?
Do you want the long-term answer?
If you know, yeah, sure.
In a perfect world, it'd be a browser extension that triggers Scribe, but instead triggers it with your Acumatica information, so it pipes right in. In the short term,
give me the perfect world. Yeah, give me the perfect world. So a browser extension. Okay.
Give me a single button you hit in the top right. Everything's done perfectly.
A lot of these projects, their output is a customization project in Acumatica. Your output in a perfect world would not be a customization project. It would be a browser extension. Okay. Then what about for tomorrow? What do you think is going to happen for tomorrow?
Currently, we're working on a desktop app.
Oh, okay.
It opens a couple windows and clicks some buttons for you.
Okay. But somehow takes the Scribe output, whatever that is, puts it into the wiki, and then it's natively in Acumatica. I don't need a Scribe account or anything like that.
Yeah.
And then
Scribe is free, and it creates a JFrame so that we can embed it into the wiki page.
Okay. And then the wiki page is related to the specific screen that I recorded on, or it's just a generic wiki area that has all your Scribe
tie it to the screen we were on.
Okay. So it'd somehow show up in the question mark on the page that you put on. Okay, cool.
That seems like the nicest way to have it pop up.
That would be, yeah. I like that. Yeah, especially you got all those how-to articles now, which I like. This would be another thing in that area that's relevant to that specific thing.
Yeah.
It would be very relevant to your specific business process.
Okay. Do you have a team name for this yet, or any product name? Something Scribe.
Hold on, I think they picked one without us because we weren't pairing a lot.
Yeah, things are winding down. I think people are heading off to bed. Yeah.
Yep. I have no PowerPoint first.
Screen app. It's okay. I know you're team number 12. I can match
AccuLearn Ed.
AccuLearn/Ed. Okay. All right. Cool. Well, thanks for
taking
the time.
We're the southern approach. We're AccuLearn.
I love it. You just got something thrown at you.
Also.
Well, thanks, Max, for taking the time, and I'll let you guys get off to bed.
I wish I had more interesting things to share.
No, that's perfect. That's perfect. All right, I got Evan from Team 13, lucky team number 13. What are you guys working on?
We are working on embedding AI models into the Acumatica framework.
Ooh, okay.
So,
like in general?
yes.
It's like a generic? Okay.
So you could take any AI model you could think of, so anyone that you might want to like fine tune to your data structure, be able to upload that into Acumatica, and then query it with inside of Acumatica. So you're not doing API calls out external, Acumatica. Your data is not leaving outside of Acumatica. It's all happening within Acumatica.
What is an AI model? Is there a certain file type? Like
there are, yeah.
Really?
So
I didn't. Okay. Tell me more.
There's a couple of different kinds you can look at and use, but what we're specifically using are quantified versions. So they basically take the model and they process it into a specific format. And we're using that format because it's easier to work with.
And is it just one type, like an OpenAI, or I just talked to someone who's using Gemini, or is it a generic format?
Yeah. So those specific ones are closed source. So you have to use. Well, I think Gemini is. Forget if that's Google's open source. Doesn't really matter.
But you wouldn't be able to download it for
most
the
of the
big
time,
ones. Okay.
yeah. Now a lot of Google does have, I forget if it's Gemini or something else, but they do have an open source version of theirs, but it's never going to be the same, right?
Gotcha. It's lagging behind. Probably.
Yeah.
Okay. So these are only ones that would allow you to download it, and it essentially is just a file that you download and upload.
Yep.
And is it a gigantic file? I would think.
So the one I'm using on my laptop for testing is only 1 gig.
Okay.
The one
That's not crazy.
GIFs is about 4 gigs, and we have another one that's 6 gigs.
Okay.
Some of them do get crazy, right? Like if you want to use the one from Meta, I think that their big model is about 25 gigs, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
So biggest thing is your computer needs to have that much memory to load the entire file into it. So
Wait, you mean RAM memory?
Yes.
Or because it has to, the whole thing has to be like active in RAM.
Correct.
In order. Oh, I see. It's not a hard drive problem. It's a RAM problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the big thing. But the
so Acumatica SaaS team is going to love this solution.
Oh yeah, they're gonna. Yes.
All right. So then, tell me the advantage of it. So the advantage of it is that you're not having to throw data back and forth.
Correct. Your data
speed is that the main advantage, or
so the speed
privacy?
Privacy is the biggest.
Okay.
Speed can come as you because Microsoft's like the easiest platform to go into. You can go to their Azure AI Studio. You can take custom model sets to train and build your own custom AI model up. So if you did that, you could fine tune down to a specific model that understands the data you have. And so when you ask a question, it can give you an intelligent answer because it knows just your data, right? It doesn't know. It's like a lot of these models, like one Meta, it understands Epicor, it understands SAP, it also understands Acumatica. So when you say customer in my ERP, it gets a little confused, right? So if you trim all that fat down into just your thing, you could get to that performance gain if you want it. But it's one of those things where this is 24 hours, so we're trying to get the best we can.
But so on the theory side of it, I've been trying to understand this more myself. I was just talking to Paul from Team 4 about just AI in general. Maybe you can help me understand, when you cross the line from AI to machine learning, because to me, it's one thing to pare a model down. You think it's the same thing?
It is.
So,
100%.
How do you then continue to teach the models? If you download this static file, right? Mm-hmm. How do you continue to teach it with your data?
So that's.
Or do you do it on some kind of cycle, like monthly or something like that?
It all depends on how you want to structure it, but at the end of the day, AI model is just the next evolution of a machine learned model. At the end of the day, their core functionality is the same. It's just the background and the data sets that it's able to consume, the understanding it's able to have. And the biggest thing that typically separates AI from a machine learning model is its understanding of textual interface, so that you can say
the natural language part of it.
Exactly.
Okay.
That tends to be the big separation. You can get super technical, and I'm sure some people will heavily disagree with what I just said. But if you just generalize it and simplistic it, that's it.
It
But
sort of sounds like you feel like it's the difference between data and big data.
exactly.
So like machine learning is data and big data is AI. Something
Yeah,
like that.
exactly.
So then coming back to you download this file that you've
So that
trained.
is
How do you
stagnant.
keep training it? It is stagnant.
That specific downloaded model, because like that's the, when you, especially what the models we're using that are modified, those take that already static data set and then optimize it so that way we can run it inside of our engine. But that model's never going to change. Granted, the answers it gives could change.
It's sort of like compiling code a little bit, right?
A little
like
bit, yeah,
once you
yeah.
compile it, it is what it is.
But because like there's a website called Hugging Face. I don't know if you've heard of it, but they are. Do you know what GitHub is?
Yeah.
So Hugging Face is the GitHub of AI models.
Okay.
You can go down there and like find thousands upon thousands of different AI models, right? And then if you follow like the main people like Meta, Google, Microsoft, they're all every so often they'll publish an update of their models to that thing. So they're taking all the data that they're using from all of their massive resources, and then they're pushing updates, right? So if you, whether you're using those, you could download their latest thing, quantify it, and then put it, or if you're running a fine tune, you can take same thing. You take their model, you fine tune their model to your data, plug it in, or if you're just doing your own, right? You could have it feed where every so often you're just grabbing, but
which would be kind of manual, right? Like you just upload the latest data and then download it back down again, which wouldn't be terrible. I mean,
no,
it doesn't. To me, it doesn't have to be API or whatever. I do
Yeah.
that once a quarter, maybe something like that.
Yeah, there is the concept of RAG, which basically you have the AI model and you have your documents. The AI model learns or uses something, produces an outputted file. It then looks at that file, retrains itself. And, you know, it's a cycle, right? Again, that's oversimplifying a lot of things, but in general, you can automate that because that's how ChatGPT works, right? It's constantly learning and retraining itself. But when you're specifically talking to it right then and there, in general, that model is the same model until they refresh it. But it is also learning as it's going.
And I would imagine there's like, okay, we all want everything to be always on and everything, right? But like even in the data world, the reality is that Microsoft Excel is probably the biggest API out there, right? I mean, like you download the data and you upload it somewhere else, and it works. It's fine, right? So like to me, static is not a bad thing. I could see even in the AI world it being sort of better in the sense that it's more predictable. Like I know I've been working with the same static model for the last 3 months. It's not doing weird stuff on me, right?
Exactly.
Could that be an advantage?
And that is because eventually, right, the AI models and the biggest thing that eventually differentiates them from machine learning is you have the ability to say, this was correct, this was incorrect, and then retrain it again. And then it says, oh, I shouldn't do that this time, let me try it. And like, you're basically, was it Pavlov and his whole give a dog a treat theory? You know, like, you're kind of doing that to the AI model until it slowly bends itself into a place that you're like, yes, I give you, you sit, I give you treat. I ask a question, you give me the right answer, good.
And then you almost maybe don't want it to learn anymore at some point. Yeah, okay.
Another thing is like, at the end of the day, you're going to have the same 10 fields of the customer, you know, like all you care about is the customer's open balance, their name, and like, as long as it understands what the core fields are, you can pass it any data. The data can change, and it'll be able to understand the data change because it understands the core fields. So it doesn't need to learn any more fields until you want to add another field to the question.
Okay.
So in a general sense, the rows can change. That's not a problem. It can interpret the different row, you know, customer A from customer B. The thing it needs to understand is this is an account CD. This is an account name. This is an address. This is an open balance amount, right? Once it understands those core concepts, you can switch the data and it can build with it because you've now, it understands it, right?
So you sold me on the idea of static stuff. So like, what use cases are you working with here? Like, you've gone with a very general approach. How are you going to demo this thing tomorrow?
So right now we have two approaches. One of them is we modified the email template screen to allow you to hit an action that says generate content. It pops up.
asks you what model you want to use because you can load different models in there, and you have like a prompt. You say, I want to build. I'm writing a email for collections, and I want this to be positive because this is the first collection call, right? And then what after it runs, it then spits out a body for you and then puts it in there, right?
Okay.
So it went and did the work of formatting the HTML, putting it into, here's a header, here's a column, here's a row. Let me make it nice and pretty. And
Is
then
it actually grabbing data for that specific customer? Is that smart, or is it more general?
No, not yet. It could be, but at this point, it's more general.
Okay.
Because again, this is an email template, right? So you're gonna plug in the emails that it's sending out. It's just because like a lot of times, especially in Acumatica, when you look at the pre-built,
you'd insert the fields that you're gonna actually put in. Yeah,
but the other thing is like when you look at these pre-built, and I don't know if I picked a good one, but a lot of times it's just really boring text here.
Yeah.
There's no colors, there's no logo. This allows you to
automate that clunky HTML stuff.
Exactly.
Okay,
it
okay.
handles all the HTML generation, shoves it in, and then you just do the rest.
Especially tables.
Exactly.
Are really
They're so annoying.
Really annoying.
So this generates all those tables, shoves it in for you.
Okay.
And then you just plug in the data points, and then you're good to go.
Cool.
The other thing we did, example of a nice looking email. Anyway, the other thing we did was we took all the emails in the system, kind of just I guess went with the email theme, but and that are linked to a customer account, and we have the AI model analyze it. Is this a happy email? Is this a neutral email? Is this a negative email? Right.
Emails are coming in from the customer.
Correct.
Okay.
And
it's like a sentiment.
Exactly.
Are your customers happy or not happy? Okay.
And then we're having it run through all those emails and generating an average sentiment score.
Okay.
And then putting it on, right? That's just
I like that.
Another example, but the core idea here is that it could be applied to anywhere in the system that you may dream of an AI assistant helping you. Building a GI, building an import scenario. Granted, you'd have to take the time to have an AI model that would understand how to do those things, but once you have that model, it could just rinse and repeat. Another maybe example is analyzing, being able to say, what customer is my worst customer? And then it's able to look through time to pay, how often they're overpay, or paying late, or what's the customer with the biggest AR, right? Balance, and it's, can take all those data points, put them together, and then give you a quick answer of this customer is your worst customer because of X, Y, and Z, right? Or
I feel like some solutions that get built in Hackathon demo well in Acumatica. Other solutions, like this one, in my opinion, need a PowerPoint slide, right? Because you're really selling an idea. Like you're the idea of the static thing, the importing the thing, and then it's harder to actually show it on the screen, right? Do you agree? Like that's the challenge with it. But you need like a good slide that sells the concept. And I don't know exactly what it is, but I feel like that's common for these projects. Some of them are very core, but you could do anything with it. And then others are like the super narrow use case that, is easy to demo, but then it's maybe not as cool technically. So I like these cool, like core technical things, but so you got the email part, but I'm still trying to think like, what's that slide going to look like that explains why this solution matters? I don't know, but I hope something happens before 12 tomorrow.
Well, and the other thing is a lot of people are very hesitant to jump on board with the AI thing because they're like, where's my data going?
Privacy, I think there's a big one. Yeah.
So I think that's like, even if you don't understand some of the other points, I think that one's an easy one to drive home, saying you can now automate the AI side of your business without worrying about where it's going, because it's not going anywhere.
It's a closed loop AI. It's a private AI. It's I don't know what it is. Yeah.
My Wi-Fi's off.
Yeah. You're running local right now on your screen. Yeah.
And that's not going anywhere.
Yeah, and that's a differentiator. That's one I haven't heard talked about yet. Yeah. That's cool. Okay. Well, good luck tomorrow. I took too much of your time already. Thanks for the education on AI and machine learning. I appreciate it.
Hope that helps.
All right, I got Sean here from Team 14. This is the last team. Sean's got 3 monitors set up. He's got a traveling 3 monitor set up, and there's another table with a printer on it. This is the most hardware I've seen at any of the tables. What's going on here?
So our project's called oh my gosh, my brain just went blank. Acu Photo Booth. Acu Photo Booth.
Acu Photo Booth. Okay.
Okay. The idea is kind of on the fly manufacturing. You provide a picture. We will turn that picture into a 3D model and then send that 3D model to the printer for production.
Okay.
So we're just as an example, we took a picture of one of the MVPs, Jen, and we gave that to our process, and it rendered a 3D model of her that we can see.
What kind of file is that?
It's called an STL file.
STL. Okay.
Yep. We then
and it's one file?
Just one file.
That thing is one file. Okay.
We'll
and
send,
Windows knows, like I could see on your screen, Windows is actually 360 going around it. Windows knows how to handle that somehow. Yep. I didn't know that. STL. Okay.
So we then pass the STL to a thing called Slicer that creates the G-code file. The G-code file is what the printer needs to print.
Okay.
And the process that generates these files for us also gives us just a flat preview. So that's what this file is, this JPEG.
So where's Acumatica get involved? This sounds like just a 3D printer thing to me. Like, how does Acumatica get involved?
Well, we're using Acumatica to deliver the images to the tool, and then the tool being run inside of Acumatica will then deliver the print shots to the printer.
So I upload what kind of file?
The JPEG.
A JPEG, and then it takes it from there and handles the communication with the printer.
Yep, handles all the processing. So then the only thing you have to do is go to the printer and say print.
And so the use case here is like a manufacturing environment, you said.
Yep.
That's going to 3D print.
Prototyping.
That's going to 3D print stuff. So then, like, what screen in Acumatica is the use case here? It's like
currently how it stands at this moment, quite literally, standard Acumatica file attachments. I upload the JPEG.
Oh, any file attachment screen. Okay.
Yep. And then, but in this right now, it's specifically in sales order. We have an action here. It says process image. You hit the button, it does the work.
And it'll rip through multiple files, whatever's in there, how many JPEGs. Yep. So then if I had 10 JPEGs in there, I now have 20 files, 10 JPEGs and 10 STLs?
Really?
Oh, no, G something. G codes.
So if you think of a string, think of a normal 3D process, 3D printer process, normally something's sent to a CAD. CAD renders the information, right? So
Acumatica is acting like the CAD here.
CAD.
Okay.
So we're utilizing services managed through Acumatica, managed by Acumatica, linked to a sales order process to take a picture and generate a 3D model that can be printed out.
And everything's being done. At the end of the day, this is a customization project that runs inside of Acumatica. Yep. So you're kind of at the mercy of the framework.
Yep.
This will publish many weeks after the voting tomorrow. Be honest, like, is it limiting having to work in the Acumatica framework, or has it been okay?
It's fine. That part's fine. The only limitation of this particular thing is that the slicer has to be installed on the same server as Acumatica running.
Ah, okay. Which could be a challenge in a SaaS environment.
Yeah,
Okay.
But the code for that is all open source. If you had the proper dev team, I'm saying we don't. We just don't have the hours for our proper dev team.
Sure.
That could be converted into a fully compartmentalized object that Acumatica could run.
Okay.
We were just, making it work.
Yeah. And someone brought, that's an actual 3D printer over there. Someone brought a 3D printer for this. Oh, cool.
Brian.
Oh, cool. Yeah, and Brian's got a little plastic plaid here, right? That's pretty cool.
So if you think about how this process works today, someone literally has to take that picture and do all the work in CAD outside the system, and then they can go eventually get to it. But if you watch Sean do this, he literally uploads a picture to the sales order, hits a button, and the next step is to go to the printer and make sure the print bed is clean and hit print for that picture. And you end up with a 3D render.
So you're basically like breaking down the walls between 3D printing and the rest of the company. It's not just for engineers anymore. It's kind of the idea.
Not only is it doing the CAD work for you, it is so simple that anybody that can pick up a TV remote could do the same thing here.
That's cool.
Quite literally, you see the files right there. So 20, the GUID there starts with a 20A. We come to the printer, and it's on the printer's user interface as well. The file's right there.
Like you hit process image here, it went into files. How do I send it to the printer from Acumatica?
It's already done. It's done.
Oh, this process image actually sent it to the printer.
Send it to the printer. That's what I'm saying. Like it's right there.
Okay. I don't have no idea. That's the printer's queue.
Printer's UI computer, but it's sitting on Brian's as well.
That's pretty
cool. I'm just saying, like, it's sitting right there. I can hit the button right now and tell it to start printing.
Very interesting use case. Oh, there it is.
Oh, it did print.
Ooh, it's warm. It's a very warm plate here. And there's Jen right there. Oh, that's cool. How long? What was it, like 5 minutes or what? How long did it say?
The print on this with our limited budget printer,
Yeah,
about 15 minutes.
Still, that's very cool.
But if you want to post, so we can buy a very we can cut that time.
Oh, you should get a picture of Allie and print Allie during the thing.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Can you print multiple? Could you print all the judges together? Maybe
not.
Maybe
yes.
not. It wouldn't demo well, right? Yeah.
But the problem is the time, because like if it took that was 15 minutes.
Yeah. Good point.
Printing the board would be a while.
But maybe the trophy. Take a picture of the trophy or something like that. Yeah. Cool.
That's not a bad idea at all.
Well, cool solution. Thanks for taking the time.
Yeah,
Let's get back to work.
All right. Well, that's it for now. We'll catch you on the next episode of ogforums.com Real Talk. Thanks for listening, and take care.